Just like in Arrows version 4, we have aggressive entries, which you can set to true or to false, and that's going to affect how quickly the arrows plot after the market turns. True is very aggressive, false is not so aggressive, so you can slow the arrows down should you choose to. Aggressive trend is set to true right now on my arrows. You can have this set to false, and what that will do is it will stop these arrows from plotting on these little pullbacks. If you have aggressive trend set to true, they're more likely to plot on little pullbacks like this because we're looking for an aggressive turn in the market, and in most cases, you know, well, I have mine set to true because we have other filtering means built into these arrows now. Late entries set on true. You'll notice that we're in a move. We're in a long move. You'll get arrows all the way down in the move. Some people don't want those arrows. Some people don't want them. You just want the arrows at the beginning of the move. So right now, I want arrows all the way down. And a lot of people like arrows all the way down in the move because it shows them continuation too. So I have mine set to true. For those of you who trade Forex, you can turn the arrow volume off. Volume is a very important component within these arrows. So if you want to turn the volume off, the volume component off within these arrows, turn this thing to false. Use volume false if you want it off. We've also given you the ability to turn the chop detection off or on. As you can see here, we have the chop indicator here right below price. It actually does a very, very good job of detecting chop. You can see that in this area here, for example, ES was extremely. If you want to turn chop detection on, just turn this to turn chop detection to true. Bill's directional filter. This is another way to directionally filter the arrows. Another way to stop those arrows from plotting on little pullbacks. If you want more directional filtering, and you can adjust the directional filter, but first you need to enable it to be true. Use bar time. One of the other filters that we've discovered that we like to use is bar time. What do I mean by bar time? How long does it take for each bar to form? As you know, we like to use range bars here. Each bar, the bar time is telling us, the bar time indicator down here is telling us how long does it take for the market to move 4 ticks. In my example right here, I'm looking at an ES4 tick range bar. How long does it take for the market to move 4 ticks? That's what this indicator is telling us down here. In a lot of cases, when the market is taking a long time to move 4 ticks, in this case I have this thing set at like 2 minutes. If it's over 2 minutes to move 4 ticks, usually the market doesn't go anywhere. This a little bit later. Use bar time threshold. That's the input that tells you where do you want, at what time, if the bar time is over 2 minutes, you don't want arrows to plot, put in 2 minutes. If you don't want arrows to plot, if bar time is over 3 minutes, put in 3 minutes, put in 3. If you don't want arrows to plot, if the time is over 4 minutes, put in 4. Very straightforward, very easy. Since we don't have the chop indicator enabled, there still is inputs that you can play with the chop indicator. And here are the three inputs. I have mine set at 1, 50, and 1.4. Those are the 3 inputs that affect the chop indicator. In my case, I don't have the chop indicator enabled right now. It's not built into the arrows, but if you wanted it to be, and you wanted to fool with some of the settings are built into the arrow and you're good to go. I told you earlier that there was a setting called Bill's directional filter, and we set it to true. This arrow smoothing input here is what that filter is. It's on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 is no smoothing. 10 is a lot of smoothing. 1 means that arrows will appear very quickly and very aggressively, and there will be no smoothing. And you may have arrows on these pullbacks. You may go short, and there may be a long. And you may go short, and there might be a long. And you might go short, and then there might be a long. Arrows will be very, very aggressive. I've been playing with this number between 2 and 5. Again, it's on a scale between 1 and 10. I've been playing between 2 and 5. Right now, I have mine set to 2. The next input is arrow size. Frankly, you don't need to worry about it. It just affects the size of the arrow. Arrow distance. Very, very important. Distance that the arrow will appear above the bar. But you need to adjust it if you're putting it on different markets. If you put it on the Russell, it's 0.1, not 0.25. If you put it on the currencies, it's 0.0001. If you put it on gold, it's 0.1. Otherwise, if you try and put these arrows on a currency future like the British pound, it's going to be, arrows are going to be way, 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 way far away and you won't be able to see them. So make sure you change that to 0.0001 on currency futures. The next two inputs are colors, yellow and yellow. Those are just for the primary entry arrows. The next input is for plot width. That just again tells us how fat the arrows will be. The next input is tick size. It's the same thing that you need to do. You need to tell the indicators what tick size the market is. What tick size the market is. Some people like to have their arrows a little bit further away from the bars, and you use this input. You use the input that I just showed you. Arrow distance, that pushes it far away from the bar or closer in. Okay. Tick size is telling us what tick size does the market tick at. In other words, ES ticks at 0.25, the Russell ticks at 0.10, the currency futures tick at 0.0001. You have to make sure you change that, or the arrows aren't going to know what's going on. The next input is stop ticks and risk. Stop ticks and risk means how late do you want the yellow arrows to appear after a swing high or after a swing low. In my case, I have 14 ticks. So if the market travels 14 ticks away from the swing high, all the arrows after 14 ticks will be gray. If the market travels 14 ticks away from a swing high, the arrows will turn gray. Why is that important? Because we found through trading Bill's Arrows 4.1 that if you're trying to get into arrows that are too late, that are too far away from the swing high, let me show you an example. Here's Bill's Arrows 4.1. Here's the Australian dollar. If you're trying to get into an arrow that's already too late in the move, it's going to lose. Remember, trading is about statistical probabilities. And the final input, plot cycle strength. Well, since the yellow arrows are being measured against these plot cycles, how far away are they away from the pink dots? The pink dots mark the swing highs and the swing lows. We also gave you the ability to adjust how quickly these dots will appear. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Just that. That's just a quick movie on the inputs. Thank you very much.